Welcome to Book Club Preview. I'm Michael, and today we're looking at Lab Girl Chapter 10, Part 1, Roots and Leaves. Whoa! It starts off with Hope Jaren graduating with her PhD. She had a hard test to be able to do her dissertation. She did her dissertation, it passed, and she graduated as a doctor. At the same time, Bill graduated with his undergrad degree, bachelor's degree. Their parents couldn't come to the graduation, so they're just kind of standing around, not sure what to do. So they decide to leave and go back to the lab. They take off their graduation clothes, and instead of partying or drinking or celebrating, they go do science. And Hope Jaren is trying to do some experiment where she needs to put some CO2 in a glass container and capture it and have it be pure. And then she uses that for certain things. She goes into that process of how she blows the glass and then traps stuff in there, which I'm not going to get into. But she just kind of goes through this process. She finishes her little capture thing. She puts in some frozen CO2 in this melting hot glass. And then she walks over to turn on the radio. Bill is doing something similar, I believe, on a different station. And while she's like turning on the radio, boom! This explosion goes off. And it just knocks Hope Jaren back. And she's like, she looks up and exploded glass is everywhere. And she can't see Bill. She can't even hear her own voice, but she's calling for Bill. Bill gets up. He was hiding under his desk, probably fearing that it was a gunshot. And he kind of looks up and he sees what happened. And Hope talks about in the lab, usually you're not allowed to listen to the radio because when you're in the lab, a small mistake can be really serious. So they don't like to have radio or music so you can focus. But she was going to turn on the radio. And she had lost focus while she was dreaming about her future, getting this glass container ready. And she put too much CO2 in the glass, so when it finally unfroze, it went pop and just exploded glass everywhere. And if Hope was there at the desk, it would have shattered glass all over her and even into her eyes. But because she was fixing this radio, her face was covered and saved. And it doesn't sound like she got cut up that much, or neither did Bill. Oh my goodness. It was a huge mess up. Something that could be a real serious issue. Definitely a safety hazard. Bill gets up, looks around, starts unplugging all the electronics, starts checking safety things, and then he says, can I have a smoke break? And she's like, yeah. So he starts going and he stops and he says, are you coming? He says, I don't smoke. That's okay. I can teach you. Come on. So Hope and Bill go outside to a smoking spot, and Hope is just freaking out. She's like rocking and biting her knuckles, which is something she does when she gets nervous. And Bill, he's just like, we had a dog that used to bite its knuckles. And Hope's like, oh, yeah, it's really gross, isn't it? Oh, I'm so sorry. And he's like, no, it was a good dog. And so, man, when you have a dog that good, you let her do whatever she wants. And our dog would just bite her feet sometimes. So it's no big deal. Bill is so weird. I love this guy. But that kind of calmed Hope down a little bit. Bill finished his cigarettes. They talked a little bit. And then they went back and cleaned up the mess. And luckily, or unluckily, they were able to clean it up so it looked like nothing happened. No incident report was filed, or fine, or reprimand, or anything. Whew. at some point in time, Hope has a conversation with Bill and says, "Hey, Bill, what are you going to do now that you graduated?" She expected that he was going to get some job and do some work. But he said, "I don't know. I'll probably just go back to my parents' backyard, dig another hole, and smoke my cigarettes." And she's like, "You want to come with me and build my own lab?" And Bill was like, "Yeah, let's do that." So graduation, everyone's gone. It's time to pack up. They load everything in Hope's truck and they drive to Bill's home, which Bill's parents are super nice. Bill's dad was like an independent filmmaker and he filmed the Armenian genocide, which I haven't read about or looked up much at all. But a genocide is when some group of people try to kill out another group of people. And so that was a really terrible time when some other people were trying to destroy all the Armenians and they had to run away. And so Bill's family was part of that, and Bill's father kind of documented it a little bit. But they were super nice, and they could grow anything. Hope stayed there in the sister's bedroom and then took off to Atlanta, Georgia. Yeehaw! Well, no, I don't think that's they don't necessarily have cowboys, but they do have a southern accent in Atlanta, Georgia. If any southern person's watching this, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. But Hope starts as her work as a professor. And she goes and teaches classes and works hard. But in order to relax, to take a break, she would open up these science catalogs. Lab equipment, bottles, scientific stuff, chemicals. And she would buy things and she'd just get them delivered to the office. And all the boxes she'd put into her kind of lab area. And there were just boxes, cardboard boxes on top of cardboard boxes with this Jaren written on them. And she kind of look in this empty area and just see all these cardboard boxes and oh yeah, this is my city. Or she doesn't think that. I kind of interpreted that in there. Just imagine these cardboard cities or pillars or towers around there. But her cardboard village area, whatever. She felt proud looking at that. But working as a professor was tough. And she worked hard and she felt tired, but she kept going. And she didn't open any of the boxes because she wanted to open them with Bill. Until finally that day, Bill arrives about a month or two later, or 3 months or 4 months after a semester, I guess. And she picks him up at the airport, and then they take off to the lab. And we learn at this point that Hope has been having some issues to where she has like gaps in her memory, to where she's suddenly at the airport, she doesn't remember where she parked, she's at the wrong place to pick up Bill. But she's been taking this medicine to help her with her anxiety. And Bill and her kind of have this funny back and forth. But she's like, yeah, I take pills now instead of smoking because I have anxiety. And they go over to see Hope Jaren's lab because she realizes, I have no idea where to take Bill. And she's like, hey, Bill, you can sleep on my couch if you want. He's like, nah, just drop me off downtown. I'll find something. But he says, I want to see the lab. Take me to the lab. She's like, oh yeah, let's go to the lab. And they're going to the lab and she's opening the door and suddenly she's like, oh my goodness. This lab, it looks like and usually I don't use this kind of language here, but she says hellhole, which is like a dump or a terrible place of dirty punishment or something. But she realizes, oh my goodness, this basement room is like old, dirty, smells funny, the paint is coming off, the lighting fixtures are like hanging off the wall, and it just has cardboard boxes in there. And so she's like, oh my goodness, like I've just come in here and like dreamed about what it could be, and I never looked at it, and now oh, Bill's gonna see it for the first time. Oh my goodness. Here, Bill. She opens the door and Bill looks in and he's like, he walks in, counting the outlets. He looks at this transformer. Oh, this is perfect. There's some kind of machine he wants to connect to the thing. And he's like, a spectrogram. I think he's like, this is perfect for the spectrogram. Oh, this is going to be awesome. And Hope just, thank goodness. And for, really the first time since she moved to Atlanta, she feels safe and happy and not alone with this new city. I called it Hellhole City after Jiren City, but she's excited. Okay, let's go into some vocabulary real quick. Prerequisite is something you need to do before something else. So pre is before, requisite is required. So a lot of times in college, you can't take a higher level class until you take the lower level class. This class is a prerequisite to take the higher class. It's required. Ostentatious. I had to write notes here because I kept forgetting what these words were after I looked them up. And I know ostentatious, I've heard it a lot, but it just means showy, too showy, overly confident. Wadded them up. That's like to take a piece of paper and crumble it and turn it into a ball. Wadding up. Preventative, pre again, means before, and ventative, I have no idea what that means. I guess stop. Or preventative means to do something to make sure that danger doesn't happen. So, example, in your car, you put on a seatbelt. Now, you don't imagine that you're going to get in a car accident, but if you do, you want to be safe. So in a lab, you do a lot of things to make sure that nothing goes wrong. Preventative action. Action to help stop something bad from happening before it happens. Conspiratorially. Conspiracy is like a secret that maybe a government or company would have. It's kind of like a bad secret, but they're it can be a funny way to say something too. But they were conspiring. They were talking in secret about something. Dingy is like old and dirty, broken down. Incongruously, I had to look this word up, which is oddly or not matching. It doesn't work well together, incompatible in a way. And this is a whole string of adjectives she uses to describe Bill. And she says disaffected, which is like disillusioned or disenchanted, could be I don't want to say unmotivated, but apathetic is another word. But realizing that things aren't wonderful, sunshine and rainbows, kind of like that. And then comportment, which I had to look up again. I was like, what in the world is this idea? And that just means conduct or behavior. And so Bill has a strange, mismatched, kind of plain, disenchanted behavior. Okay, that's what that one string of words meant. It was tough. And then the last one here, careened, is to kind of stretch your neck over to try and look at something from a different angle. So after she got hurt, she was careening her neck to see if she could see Bill. And that leaves us with our discussion question. Hey, okay, there we go. Discussion question. What was your biggest mistake? Maybe you can even think most dangerous mistake that you did. Oh man, I just thought of several as a new parent, man, when my daughter was born. And several from when I was young too. But I'm going to share those later. What was your biggest or most dangerous mistake? And of course, please make your own discussion question. That is all the time that we have for today. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Hey, if you have any questions about the video today, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. If you had any other vocabulary words that you wanted to know what they meant, let me know. And also, if you're interested in maybe joining one of these book clubs, please leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.